Hey, what is up, everyone? Happy Sunday to you all. All right, we have Super Fun Sunday. I apologize that it's going to go up a little late, but as they say in the biz, better late than never. No, they shouldn't say that in the comic biz, because that's not. I don't like late books. I'm not a fan of that. All right, so look, first things first, we're going to look at Hal Foster. This is going to be awesome. This dude is the godfather of so much stuff that we like as comic book fans. It's pretty incredible, actually. In fact, glancing at it, just getting this video together, I was really shocked at how far-reaching this guy's influence is, because he influenced Frazetta in multiple ways, and you're gonna see John Buscema, and just like man, this dude. Obviously, he wasn't created in like a capsule or a vacuum, you know. I mean, he probably had his own influences, but as far as I could tell, Hal Foster was working as far back as like the early 30s, and he may have even been working earlier. I'm not any kind of Hal Foster expert, to be honest. I have a bunch of the can't remember what company did them, but they're almost like Marvel Treasury size collections, like soft cover, but kind of cardboard soft covers. But I've a bunch of those, and I'd love to get like some sort of an artist edition type book of his stuff. I'm sure there's one out there. In fact, I kind of think that I know that there is. I did grab a few scans off of Heritage Auctions. I didn't go crazy with it because I've done it before, meaning that I've done it for myself at least. I feel like I've done a Hal Foster video before, though, to be honest, going into this. It felt familiar. Not the material, though, to be clear. What I'm saying is I feel like I've done a video of his work before. But anyway, this is going to be awesome. You know, we'll probably do close to an hour. My initial goal was 30 minutes, but I have a hunch it's going to go much longer. And it's going to be super fun. All right, quick updates. This will be super fast. I have 8 pages left of Crystal Planet. 8. Ocho. I don't know 8 in any other languages, unfortunately, or I would rattle off a list. I should have studied before I did it. I had an interesting morning. I actually was looking at manga for like 4 hours, and now I'm doing this. So this is going to be quite the shift of gears, but it's going to be really fun. So anyway, I mean, like, just looking at this, the first thing I noticed when I went back to Foster's work is when you see Hal Foster's signature, I mean, Frank clearly got his lettering for his own signature from Hal Foster. In Painting with Fire, Frank says that he was hired early in his career to do Hal Foster lookalikes, and Frank said also in Painting with Fire that he considered Hal Foster one of the greatest, one of the greats. I had the actual exact quote in my mind, but now that I'm approaching it from a different angle, I don't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, so anyway, we're going to turn some of these files black and white, and I think this is a good one to start with. We won't do it with all of them, but any of them that look worthy of it, we'll give it a shot and see how it looks. Pull out a little bit more gray. But yeah, Hal Foster is so good. It's you know, it's one of those things too where I think like if you're early in your comic book collecting arc in your life, or even an artist, you know, Foster is like it may not connect with you right now, but as you get more serious about your work, or you really start to be interested, I've got like literally as many files as open as possible. So look, here's a Hal Foster piece. Like, this looks like a John Buscema drawing, you know? This was probably done like, well, it would have been done, it was probably done between 1931 and 1933. But I mean, even the inking, it's crazy. So it's really funny. And I mean, look at this signature up here, how much it looks like Frank's signature. It's kind of funny, right? You could see Frazetta coming right out of that. Look at the T. He even circles it. So Frank, you know, Frank obviously, like, as a kid, was way into this stuff. There's so much good art. God, I was really, really impressed. And I already know Foster's great. But I'm saying, like he impresses you even when you go into it with high expectations. It's not easy to do. So Jeff Jones did a book called Idol. Jeff Jones was heavily influenced by Frazetta. I would imagine that he probably was heavily influenced by Hal Foster too. If not, I guarantee he would have loved this work. I'm sure he's seen it. To be clear, that's not what I'm saying. What I mean is, he may not have had access to like heritage files in 1972. In fact, I could almost bet that he didn't. Come on, Rich. I'm goofing around, but you know what I'm saying. Like we're pretty spoiled now, to be quite honest. I mean, you could go and look around online and practically find like a gold mine of stuff that these artists that we're huge fans of, Barry Windsor Smith, Wrightson, all those guys, they would have freaking killed for this stuff. And they still did awesome work. So that's there's no excuses in 2022. My patrons know, right, guys? There's no excuses. You get out there and take advantage of what you can. Learn from every source you can. Sit down, get to business, and deliver the goods. This is an awesome little panel right here, isn't it? You get a little Wrightson feel from this. The guy's ear. This. I always call it like Wrightson. I'm gonna get a full screen mode for just 1 second and grab a color. Wrightson to me always draws like the Ichabod Crane character. Like this face to me reminds me of like, you know, they've got the beak nose. They've always got the big sort of ear, and it's a real good thing. But man, his guns are awesome. Oh, is this brush thing gonna stay up there? It's so annoying. I guarantee there's a way to get rid of it. All right, hold on. I'll switch tools so I don't have to see that stupid thing all the time. Always fun to see the white. You can, even in Frazetta's pen and ink stuff, you can occasionally see little, usually it's in like grass or hair. He'll throw some white strokes. I'm talking about his pen and ink work. In particular, if you can find, you know, obviously a scan off the original. If it's grayscale, you're not going to, you might not possibly spot the whiteout as easily. Gosh, shit's so fun. I think, so here's the deal for me with Hal Foster is like I've always, since I bought those books that I own, I've always been a fan. I've never really found a use for it. Now, this is coming from someone that's only been penciling for 14 months professionally. But as an inker, although I like this stuff, it didn't really seem to translate to anything that I was going to maybe use, you know, just at the stuff that Wildstorm and DC was throwing at me. Now, it's not to say that if I, you know, had the opportunity to pull some ideas from this, but it was a little bit more of a vintage look or whatever you want to call it. And so, you know, it was one of those things where I always kept the books because so this is 1932. So, you know, again, I'm nearly sure his Tarzan run was, I think 31 to 33, maybe 28 to 33, 1928. So 1933, but and you can, if you really are a hardcore Frazetta fan, you can find like even sketches and stuff like that. Frazetta would sometimes in sketchbooks draw a bunch of stuff like this, and you'll see actually what looked to be maybe Hal Foster studies. There was a few other artists that Frank, in this, I'm not going to keep going back to Frank on this, although I probably will in some ways, just because that's how I would ground Hal Foster. You know what I mean? It's a commonality with all of us as we try to take something that we're not as familiar with and sort of compare it to something else. And again, I know that Foster influenced Frank, so it's exciting for me to see the thing. But God, this stuff is so great. It's so nice. It's a very casual look to this drawing too, but it's really, really well drawn. Be curious. I don't really know how Foster's history and what his art education was. If he was someone that just was pretty good at art and got into comic books and then just kept sort of like studying art along the way, or if he had the opportunity to go to art school. I don't know. I don't know what Hal Foster's age would have been at this point. I mean, I would imagine he was in his early 20s, but that's just a guess. But this is really, really good art for someone in the early 20s, to be honest. Frank, I mean, you know, oops, sorry, you know, this is like just right out of any kind of Frank Frazetta thing. So you could see where he pulled ideas from this from Hell. God, this stuff too looks so much like early Frazetta. So it is interesting to you know, I would imagine Al Williamson was probably a big fan of this too. I mean, I would think that probably all those guys were. You'd have to be a dope. It's incredible to think that this kind of stuff was being done, though, in the early 30s. I think what's interesting about it to me is that there's so many of these techniques that we still implement as if you're a traditional artist. It was funny because looking today at all that manga I was looking at, I was like, you know, most of it was Clip Studio or something like that, you know, Procreate or whatever they're drawing it in. But beautiful stuff. You know, I looked at a lot of stuff that I didn't like, and I saw some really great shit. I was not looking at specific titles. I was doing what I would call random exploration, but I dig in. I don't goof around. Like I said, I did like 4 hours of like some pretty hardcore studying. But I don't go into it with an agenda. I go into it with an open mind, an open heart. You lie, Rich. You do not. I do so. All right. I like this. This is a very kick-ass panel. I would like to explore that. Although I will say this though, it doesn't like sometimes I'll talk about this with like really good backgrounds. Like I'll see something and I'll go, man, I want to know what's in that castle. I'm more impressed by the foliage than I am the castle. The castle to me feels a little flat and kind of like nondescript. Like I'm not getting, it's not creating a lot of imagination in me personally when I'm looking at this castle. What is though is that this forest is really fascinating, and you know, that is kind of interesting. I love the path. I mean, it's a beautiful drawing. Don't get me wrong, but you'll hear me sometimes say that when I look at certain scenes, you know, you go like, oh man, what's up around that staircase? But this is so long ago that the fact that they were even creating any kind of depth, if you really looked at a lot of the stuff that was going on at the time, is pretty incredible, because it's like each generation carved out these things that we all carry through us. Was interesting because before I did this video, I was thinking about that, how really any artist that came before you, they're clearing the way, whether you know it or not. Because the thing is you may not be familiar with their work, but you might be a fan of 2 or 3 artists that this larger group of artists really. This is Barry Windsor Smith right here. I'm pretty convinced. No, it's Ringo and Barry Windsor Smith. I don't know how he drew them years before they existed, but I think that this is a scene from a Beatles movie. All right. He's doing, look, Dio always says, oh, I guess it's one finger up. I thought this was a finger. I was like, he's doing the Dio symbol. So, you know, Dio always claimed he created that. I think Hal Foster did. This is awesome. You know, this is really weird too. Okay, so I did a video for Patreon a day or so back. I did about 50 minutes of Mark Schultz on Xenozoic Tales. I think that's what it was. And I mentioned an artist, William Vance. And it was funny as today William Vance was brought up. But Vance, I think he did like European graphic novels, but I got like a small collection of his books one time. But William Vance is kind of like this. It doesn't look like Hal Foster exactly, but he's that good. Not all of his work is that good though, but I have a few books in particular that are really good. So he may be worth looking up. I'd said in the video that I think he's kind of one of those people that, one of those artists that a lot of, in particular, American artists that are, you know, came up in the last like 20 or 30 years, they may not know. You know, I think maybe Europeans might know more. Look at this. This is great. So some of these are Sundays, like Sunday, I guess, newspaper strips. It must have been pretty exciting at the time to get like these little bits of story. In a way, I mean, it's kind of what you know, like periodicals, you know, manga and all that stuff. I wanted to see if I could sort of pull it out. It kind of looks better in color. Yep, pretty awesome. All right, let's continue, friends. Ooh, look at this. The old reed, breathing through the reed trick. I can't remember where I first saw that. I remember as a kid, I was watching like a movie or a cartoon, and someone did that. What was it? That's funny. I haven't even... I think I've seen this 3 times in my life. Once was whatever I remember from when I was a kid. This one, and then maybe one other time. I've seen probably the same... God, what was it? It's too far in the past for me to even... I can't even toy with the idea that I would remember. And I've got a real good memory, too, but... Who knows? Maybe I'll think of it. This is really nice. This is great, too. This middle panel is really, really good. You know, it's funny. I'm not I'm not a huge fan of the color yellow. I don't. It's a weird thing to say, but I kind of like it on this. I like it sometimes on old, like DC covers too. Like DC, for some reason, I don't picture old Marvel covers having as much yellow on them, but for some reason DC kind of did more. But I sort of like this. It's very like shocking. The background could be none more yellow. These are pretty cool. It's and funny is like, so like this is like the evolution of the fight scene is like nowadays you get more shots where it's like, you know, it'd be you pull in tight, and this is kind of more like what you would see in a fight scene. But when everyone was working it out, they did it more literally, and it's more common, I think, for sorry, I was doing a Clip Studio shortcut, not, and I'm in Photoshop. This is kind of like when you're learning to draw, ironically, this is kind of like how you might handle a fight scene, is you do it more literally, you feel like you need to fit the characters into the panel, and as you get more confident with it, you realize that to create more action, sometimes extreme angles, tighter shots, body parts, you know, coming in and out of the camera, it feels more chaotic and stuff like this. But in a weird parallel idea, they were learning this, you know, Hal Foster's learning how to draw a fight scene in a comic. This isn't something that you know, you just go into, although it had been done in fine art and stuff like that, but usually probably in a way where it's more literal. And I mean, even perspective slowly rolled out in art. If you've studied art history, and I'm self-taught, to be clear, I never went to art school, but I've studied it a lot on my own. I mean, there's a point where perspective didn't exist in art, or if it did, it was accidental, and it slowly evolved over, you know, I don't know how many years, but pretty interesting. Sorry, it's kind of hot here. I'm drinking ice water as we're doing this. So, all right, let's see what we got. Face? Was this like someone's face? What's going on here? That's a little creepy. I wasn't really following the story, so maybe he was wearing a mask, but I'm gonna pretend that it's someone's skin, and he's so it's the oily goose skin mask, it says. All right, let's continue, friends. Ooh, what is this? What's this? This final panel is funny. I actually drew a girl that kind of looked like this yesterday. Her upper body was very stiff. I'm referring to that, not the face. But her upper body was really stiff, and then I realized that she was kind of hunching over, like leaning forward. And I fixed it, and it looked much better. But yeah, I was like, she's standing weird. What is going on? And I was like, oh, she's standing like she's a hunchback or something. This is really cool, man. We're kind of I guess we're going backwards is what's going on as we're looking at the files in reverse. It's not a huge deal. It really wasn't about the sequential experience, although we can enjoy like each piece has. This is nice. So this is, looks like this is 19, no, I can't read it. 1938 maybe. I mean, this is better than most superhero comics at that time. I'm going on a limb here, but I don't think if you bought like a regular like what did Batman come out in 36? Is that right? 32, 28, somewhere around there. I don't think they were even drawing capes that good back then. Maybe, depends. That was one of the cool. Well, there was a DC. I actually enjoyed working for DC. I didn't end with any sort of like negative experience with DC. I just stopped taking work from them. But the comps, DC would do these collections of the old like Golden Age stuff, and every once in a while you'd find like an artist that was really good that you'd never heard of, and you're just like, damn. And you know, sometimes it was just a little short run that they did on some random book. But I usually will keep those if there's something good in it. And you know, again, it's one of those things that's tricky because this wouldn't be exciting if to draw a shot like this in a comic book in 2022 isn't really going to be that exciting. But if you're knowledgeable enough and you worked on your art enough, you're able to pull ideas from this stuff that are, you know, it's like here's the kernel of the idea, but you turned it into this much bigger thing. You know, it's not about copying it, it's about the idea, you know. Things have advanced so much. It's interesting because I always imagine, you know, at some point people will ask me about, you know, like, how did you learn to draw, meaning pencil, and, you know, who are your influences and all this stuff. And it's like, at this point, it's really, really difficult for me to answer that question because I'm always looking for something new. And so a lot of times the stuff that I'm most excited about is something that I've not seen from an artist that I don't know, you know. It's like you can go on Instagram, and if you really just start looking around, you know, using the hashtag just as an example, you know, horror, you know, or sci-fi or whatever, pen and ink, you know, you might stumble upon someone who, you know, isn't really known that's just doing something interesting. This is great. Man, that last panel is awesome. That is really good. Man, that is really kick-ass. This is great too. I mean, no, it all is, but ooh, look at this. You know, and Kelsey had mentioned his interest in simple colors, and throughout these pages we're seeing stuff that's been colored in a very simple way. I'm not saying that this is like the greatest example of simple flat colors, but I like this blue wall. I think that actually looks cool. I really like this right here. It's quite simple, but I think this looks really good. I like this. I'm not as big a fan of this with the other background. This panel I don't really like as much. In terms of color, like this one is okay. But I think this blue, it reminds me of like a Kevin Nolan blue. This is cool. Barry Windsor Smith kind of colors his stuff like this, you know. This is awesome. God, this looks right out of Star Wars. And I know that George Lucas was a fan of this stuff too. I mean, I definitely think that things like this were what he was vibing on as a teenager, you know, and I hold Star Wars just as an overall idea very close to my heart. You know, obviously Star Wars has been pushed and pulled a lot of different ways, but you know, I think the general idea of it is exciting. Adventure, you know, heroes and villains and all this. God, that is great. Look at this. It's just, you know, it's a shame doing a video like this too, because I know going into it, it's not going to get as many views as it deserves, and I don't mean because of me doing it, but the art itself will, like, people will just, some people will go, oh, Hal Foster, I don't want to see that stuff. That's old-fashioned, or I don't know who it is, but they're missing out, you know. So if you're this far into the video, you're already a winner. They won't ever see me say that. Like, I'm still here, man, but I was gonna bail out. Oh wait, oh. This is cool. This is so the colors right here remind me a little bit of Maxfield Parrish. It's not as hyper saturated as Parrish. Well, actually, I could do it just for fun. Parrish will go into this range. It's There's a certain area of this piece that's reminding me of Parrish, but it's like right in here. Not so much the red and blue and yellow, but I'm a huge Maxwell Parrish fan. Oh, God, this is so good. It's incredible that he was drawing this stuff back then for comics. He really was on another level. I would love to see what was going on at this time in, like, comic strips. This must have just, like, rocked everyone's world that was, like, a aspiring artist. This reminds me a lot of when Jeff Jones would do strips. And, in fact, you know, Jeff would do like hairstyles and stuff like that, so he for sure was a fan of this. These are nice reprints. I think some of this is from Fantagraphics. I'm trying to remember what my white books are. I used to keep them in my office. I only have so much room in here, so I kind of rotate stuff in and out, but I don't think I have any Hal Foster in here right now. This is a real nice page though. His originals sell for anywhere from 13,000 to about 35 grand for the black and white strips. I'm sure some even would go for more, depending on what's on it. But they're not cheap. You're not going to get these for a few $100, that's for sure. This is really nice. Some of these we'll go through quick because I do have a lot of files open. This was a 3-issue thing from Fantagraphics. Or wait, this is from 2010. Maybe that's not the one I'm thinking of. Now, see, this looks like it's been recolored. I don't like this at all. This is funny though. Mignola totally. He did some World of Krypton Superman stuff. Earlier in his career, obviously pre-Hellboy, but P. Craig Russell, I could see being a fan of this. Even Charles Vess. I'm gonna rattle off everyone's name. Dean Ormstrom, I think that's his name. Colored like this, it looks like it could have been published by Vertigo. Oh my gosh, these colors are killing me. Yikes. No. I don't know what they started with, but even the way that they reproduce the inks is looking really weird. Oh, so this is Gary Gianni and Schultz. What is going on? Oh, Gary Gianni drew these. I get it. It's a shame that they didn't. I mean, Gary Gianni's really, really good. I thought that this was Hal Foster, so I was like, man, they really grittied up his line, but yeah, it's a shame that they didn't mellow the color out a little bit. Okay, well, we can go through these quick, because, I mean, this is about Hal Foster, not Gary Gianni, so. At some point, I could do a video on Gianni, though, because he is really good. I don't know if I would necessarily pick this. Oh, bummer. I didn't realize that this was Gianni. Let me do this really quick. Okay, so here's Foster. So, let's see how this works. When I shut this, if it stays on Foster. I like this wizard right here. That's really cool. Oh, it's going to do that. All right, let me just shut these. I don't want to go too fast. I'm just worried that I'm going to I'll shut like a really good Hal Foster. It was funny. This is, I think, the first piece from this batch, actually, funny enough, because I saw this open, and I was like, that's a weird one for Hal Foster. It's funny that I caught it, and they were opening quick, like when Photoshop opens a batch, but I saw that, and I was like, that doesn't look like Hal Foster to me. Here we go. I was right, too. See? Trust what I say. Like I said, I'm not observant and hyper observant all at once. So this is the back cover of a collection, and it is cool. Could see Brian Boland getting down with this. It's got the very Al Williamson kind of did this too, where like Frank got really into like twisting the figure and having people bent over and at all these interesting angles. But a lot of British artists tend to draw a little bit more sort of straight up and down. Brian Boland. It's not to say that they always did. Even Gary Frank, I think, early in his career, kind of did it a bit too. But Al Williamson, although he's not an English artist, I'm trying to think where Al is from though. Oh no, he's from like somewhere in South America, I think. Surprising because I wouldn't think that he would be, but yeah, Williamson draws a little bit more vertical. All right, oh man, this is gonna be so good. Yeah, this looks a lot like Boland. Man, that's crazy. His Camelot 3000, I think it was called. Man, that is great. God dang. Well, this is fun. Look, it's the guy from the Frazetta painting. No. The Molly Hatchet. The Molly Hatchet piece. Oh, look at this. Damn. God, that is so kick-ass. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is such a beautiful, I guess, splash image, I guess you call it. Oh, let me go in full screen mode. What am I doing? Full. All right. R key and shut this. It's interesting. So, like the colors on this obviously have been sort of tinkered with a little bit. Somehow these could be scanned off of newsprint, possibly. And then just sort of given a little bit of a massage in Photoshop. It doesn't look bad though, it's like sometimes it being printed on dead white paper without any tooth, quote unquote, meaning like regular comic book paper has a little bit of a texture, so when the ink lays down it can change a little bit. But this looks pretty nice. Like these are beautiful reproductions for sure. Oh god, look at that. Man, this is good. Damn. Oh yeah, it's so nice. Oh, I'm really excited to see these. I'm like, these are really good scans, and boy, it just looks great. The red lips are funny because it's like I keep going like it's supposed to be like a woman in drag that's like trying to infiltrate or something. Maybe it is. I don't know. The lips are just so red. So kissable. Alright, what do we got here? Man on a horse. Whack. Yeah, this is great shit. Holy cow, this guy could draw. God dang. Man, that is impressive. And it's interesting too. I'll point this out. Grab red. He keeps the arms actually somewhat. I hate to use the word stiff, but there's not a lot of torque on the limbs. Like here, even too, and even this. You know what I mean? He's not doing these hyper exaggerated like bent limbs or foreshortened, and yet there's a lot of energy to it in terms of the position of things. And this horse is really really crunched up. And then this is got some nice dynamic too. But he's what's funny too is he's swinging back, and even that is actually very vertical. The center line of his back goes right down to the middle of his ass. Frazetta would have them totally juxtaposed, I mean, his hips might be like this or something like that, where it's like this twist. But he's not even doing that, and it's still energetic. That's, again, another thing that's not easy to do. This is the same deal. Look, from the middle of his body, it goes straight down to his crotch. There's no twist to the thing. Even this is just a slight thing. Straight again. Well, kind of. I mean, you could say there's a little bit of that. It's impressive, It does show that it can be done, to be honest. Man, these are great. Jeez Louise, I've never seen this stuff. Or yeah, I don't have this in my books for sure. Yeah, this is really good. Nice attention to detail with the costumes too, you know? Like they feel period correct. Really fascinating. Okay, go through a few of these a little quicker. Kind of has a little bit of Wrightson kind of did this. Frazetta sort of did that too. This is a really great panel. Man, that's good. Damn. That is a really nice panel. For what it is, that's badass. This is great too. Panel 1 I was talking about. I really like this area. It's really nice. The red lips are just too funny. If I was the editor on this book, I would have maybe had them tone that down just the tiniest bit. Only because it's like so noticeable. Unless, like I said, it's... I don't think it is, though. And maybe that was how it was colored back then. I mean, with like J.C. Leyendecker, his early Saturday Evening Post covers, they were only... I don't know if they considered it 3-color, but you kind of had black, white, and red. So, that's possible. This is cool. Yeah, I mean, if you, like, this looks like right out of, like, a Gary Frank drawing, you know? I'm not saying that Gary Frank is influenced by Hal Foster. I mean, he may like his stuff, but it's just, it is funny how, like, it just, that look sort of did carry over. Man, he's really good with, like, the costuming. Like, the patterns and fabrics and stuff like that are really interesting. Her necklace feels a little out of sorts to me. It feels like it's like from like a 70s, like you know, like if she touched the right gems in order, she'd be able to transport to another dimension. Like Slee Stacks. You remember back when you were a kid and your dad had a puppet on a stick and that's how he entertained you? Before you had PlayStation 5. Even the dogs are happy that this guy killed this thing. They're like, alright, we're gonna eat. Let's do this. Oh, I love these. It's like the Calvin and Hobbes like Sunday strip where you get the like the color and the big sort of splash. Man, that is so good. Oh my god, I love stuff like that. Oh my god, that is great. Oh boy. What a fantastic establishing shot. Dude. Oh, that is really, really good. All the drawings on this are so nice too. He's like, "Are we doing puppet on the stick tonight, Dad?" He's like, "You got it, little buddy. Puppet on a stick all night long." This is kind of interesting. She looks intimidating. You know, I saw a documentary a few months ago. It was quite a while back. It's probably 7 to maybe half a year or over a year, like 12 to 7 months back on the Vikings. The Vikings, man, when you hear like what they would do, man, that must have been scary. If you spotted those dudes off your coast and you had any idea what they were up to, holy shit. I can't even picture what it would look like because their boats were so primitive and yet they were like invaders. They would just come and like, oh man, I don't even know. It's insane. They need to do a good Viking movie. Has there been one? I don't know. Look, Northern Lights. This guy doesn't pull any punches. The thing is I don't even think back then they didn't have color photography or right? Like were there books with color photography in like 1936? I mean, it was probably possible to take color pictures, but do you think a book would have it? Can't imagine. Maybe you'd seen the Northern Lights, but that's not bad. Not a bad drawing. They're like, it's like a rainbow, lots of green. It's like, fair enough. You know what this kid's looking at? He's looking at the puppet on the stick. Wow, he even had to draw whales. So sperm whale, right? With these teeth. A little picnic. This is nice, man. I've always been a fan of ocean paintings. I know it's kind of a boring sort of generic, although I don't see people doing like seascape paintings as much as years ago, but a good seascape painting can be impressive, especially like night ones. I think they're kind of cool. God, this guy had to draw freaking everything. Dolphins jumping out of the water. When we take it for granted, we just look at the page and go, yeah, dolphins, whatever. He drew them fine. It's like, I don't know where Hal Foster grew up, but I mean, there's a good chance that he had never seen a dolphin. And these artists must have lived at the library. Oh, this guy. Some really funny storytelling going on here with all the different body language. Here's our dude. This is a nice drawing. Like a kid crawling up on her lap, man. Yep, this is some good stuff. It's funny. So I guess that's just like a mess up, because I thought in what was it, Braveheart, didn't they have blue on their face? I thought it was makeup, and I was like, oh, it's funny that they forgot to put the makeup on his face here, but yeah, I guess his eyes aren't painted. It kind of works in that first panel, funny enough. Man, look at this. That is so good. Man, you really can draw great. Uh-oh. Unless this is his daughter, this chick isn't going to be down with this. She's going to get him. Oh, look at this. This is right out of Pirates of the Caribbean. Before it even existed. This is nice. So this is awesome. Oh, it was funny. I was like, what is in the clouds? Or smoke or whatever, but it's the boat. This is badass. I almost thought he had the Thundercat symbol for a split second. And then this is great. Alright, we're out of here. Yeah, man. A little, like, all the lighting cues in this guy's face. Like, right here, here, along the nose. He really understands the planes of the face really good. Little bounce light on that right there. Or, well, yeah. Yeah, so it's interesting. This bounce light potentially could be bouncing. Watch, it could be bouncing off of this cheek and then hitting the nose right there, believe it or not. That could be the thing, because the light source is coming from this way, but your cheek sticks out, and so this part of your cheek hits light, and it would actually reflect on that surface right there, believe it or not. The more you know, friends. The more you know. Alright, I need to put this pen away because it drives me nuts seeing that thing up there. I know there's got to be a way to hide that. This is awesome, too. Oops. You know I'm talking about this. Damn. This, like, last panel is pretty cool. This is great, too. Man, he really draws this guy good. I don't know. he's crushing these faces. Like, look at that. Really gives him a lot of character. He's having fun. The guy's hair is awesome too. You picture like that they burnt the ends, you know, and then put those caps on it. Yeah, it's really cool. This is nice. Big, just beefy waves. Man, he really gave him great form. Look how thick this is right here on the top of that. And then this. Oh, man. Beautiful work. Beautiful. All right. Let me know, too, because I'm curious. Were these daily strips? Like each page? I don't know how this came out back in the day in terms of like when we're looking at these. They look to be more like not the pages that were like this with the big panel and then like 2 tiers. But this stuff right here, was this released like each day in the comic section of the newspaper and then they just compiled it, or were these like comic books? Because this I could see almost being like a daily strip, potentially. I'm not saying that it is, to be clear. Man. Yeah, it's fascinating going from what I was looking at this morning to this, because like with the a lot of the more contemporary like manga artists, I mean they push perspective and stuff like that. It's funny to see stuff that's more subdued in terms of camera shots and pulling and pushing things, but the stuff is just so well drawn. I was trying to figure out, I thought the horse had taken an arrow to the neck. I think it's something on his belt, maybe, more possibly. This feels a little big to be the end of an arrow. It could be, though, but I don't see any other thing. Yeah, the look on the horse's face, it almost looks like he took an arrow to the neck. Oh, yeah, this is nice. I remember seeing this one when they opened. Or, you know what it is? Some of these are going to be repeats, I have a hunch. Is it? Yeah. Yeah, okay, so this is the same. We didn't see this one, I don't think. We did see this. These are different reprints. We'll stop on the ones that are that we haven't seen, but it's all right. I should get going. I gotta work, so. Him kicking his leg out is pretty funny. Take that, you scad. Yeah, we saw this. Man, this looks like right out of like a movie. This is great too, man. What a fascinating artist. It's really incredible what he was pulling off. That's our yellow page. This is pretty nice. Pretty nice. Oh, this is cool. Uh-huh. Just soaking it in. Well, hopefully that was fun for everyone. It was really interesting. I really had a good time looking at that. Oh, man, look at this. And at some point I can return to him, because... Or you could search my channel and see. I'll search when I upload the video, and I'll put it in the description box if there's another Foster video, because I feel pretty confident that I did one, and we looked at a lot more of some black and white art. I know I've pulled from Heritage multiple times, grabbing tons of his stuff, because I'll see similar pieces. I don't think we saw this page. I don't remember this panel. Maybe we did. I just don't know. This is a nice panel. He's even got Zipatone. Crazy. You know, and look, as good as this stuff was, honestly, there's stuff out there that is even more insane than this from Hal Foster for sure, because I know there's pieces that I have kind of burned into my memory that I've seen that are insanely good. This is great right here. This looks like a John Byrne drawing, kind of, to me. I don't know. I look Neil Peart. He's like, I'm gonna go join a band called Rush. They're like, okay, Neil, do that. This is great. Love the stairs. I'm a big fan of stairs and drawings. I always think it's like it's cool, and this is really cool. Yeah, and it's really weird. All he's like Neil Peart from like Rush 2112 era. He's like, I must head to Bangkok. Ah, that's awesome. Ooh, this is a nice little thing. That was a cool panel. I feel like his boot wouldn't be white. It looks a little effeminate white. Like it should be. It's probably this yellow color. Oh, right. Okay. We saw that page already. I don't remember this. Oh, this has got like almost like a little. Or I think it's just the reproduction. Oh, we saw that. I don't remember this. This is pretty cool. I've had to do stuff like this, kind of pain in the ass, like net with like someone in it, and you're trying to ink like the net and then the person in it. It's kind of pain in the butt. Pain in the butt. Takes the writer 2 seconds to tell you that. Takes you a lifetime to draw it. No, that's really really cool. That first panel is awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. I mean, I want to see just how many more files we have on the side of. Oh, okay, we can finish them up. It's fine. Not too many left. Yep. It's possible too that the files that I grabbed were early stuff, meaning that when because I started kind of at the beginning of the volumes, so that might be why I said that I've seen stuff that's actually even more advanced than this, is that they're from later volumes. My other video should cover it though, so again I'll look for that if you had fun watching this. Okay. Crocodile or an alligator, one or the other. You know, yeah, he really was challenged to draw a ton of different stuff, and he did it really, really well. He always stepped up to the plate. You can see his horses aren't as strong at this point. So this is definitely earlier work for him. It's not as advanced. We kind of went sort of backwards, but yeah. Still not bad. I mean, it's really good, to be clear. I just mean, like, compared to what he got to, this is still solid for what looks to be. Well, this would have been after Tarzan, though. So he had 2 or 3 years of professional experience at this point, at least. Because I'm nearly sure that the Prince Valiant stuff was after Tarzan. And he was on Prince Valiant for quite a long time. I love those top panels like that. Are really cool. That's nice. God, this looks like right out of like a Safino comic. It just needs to be a little more scary. Like everyone looking like they're like have rabies. he's got to draw a turtle? He's like, honey, I'll be back. She's like, library? He's like, yeah, I want me to draw a tortoise. All right, I'll keep dinner in the oven. This was when I saw that, I was like, I definitely have to do a Hal Foster video. And this is Neanderthal, or however you say it. I have a friend that pronounces it, I think, more appropriate. I've always said Neanderthal, but I think it's pronounced some other way. But anyway, you get the point. But Frazetta's the one that's on the Masonite. All the characters coming together or coming forward sort of have this vibe. So again, going back to the Frank being a big fan of this stuff is a kid. Honestly, Frank was born in 28, so he would have been about 10 years old approximately when this stuff was coming out. So perfect age, because he started drawing the snowman when he was, I think, between 8 and 11 years old, and obviously he got better and better as he went along. But yeah, those early influences stick around. The colors on this are nice. It's different, a little more atmospheric. It's pretty cool. God damn, that's some detailed shit. And we should be winding this down in like 1 or 2 more clicks. So, all right. I love you all. I hope everyone has a great week. I hope you have a fun rest of your day. I'm going to work and get closer and closer to finishing Crystal Planet. I should be done within the next 2 weeks. So, most pages spill over. Like it takes me a little over a day to do. It's funny because I'll end on like some tips that I give. So when I'm working, like if I'm inking a book and say that there's 20 pages in, or even 10, I generally will work from hard to easiest on those pages, so that at the end I either have something. It can be hard. I'll leave one hard page if it looks really fun, if it's something that I'm excited about inking and I know it's still going to be hard. But what I'm kind of doing with Crystal Planet, because I'm so excited to be finished, is I'm working from hard to easy, which I haven't been doing. I've been working straight through the book, so I've been going chronologically the last 2 issues, which is a better way to work, honestly. It's confusing when you're drawing a story and you're like, oh, I'll draw pages. Well, the last pages I turned in was page 12, Kitty? I think I turned to page 12, 16 through 19. But right now I'm was that right? My cat, she's very concerned I'm getting the page number wrong. Yeah, so I had 9 pages left, and I initially was going to do the funner pages first, and I was like, no, don't do it, because you don't want a bunch of harder, not fun pages at the very end. So I'm kind of working from hard to easy right now. So yesterday I did a page with, I don't remember how many panels I had on it, but it was hard. I only got the figures done. I wasn't able to get into the backgrounds because it took so long to do the figures. But some pages just take longer. But there's kind of easier and fun ones as I get towards the end. So my thought is it's going to take 2 weeks to finish the rest of the book, but we'll see. Then I have 1 week of commissions that have been long overdue, but they're fun. You guys will be excited to see them. I have a Dale Keown Hulk, a Brian Boland Joker. I have a Joe Quesada Daredevil. I have to do a voodoo piece. I'm penciling and inking myself. It's a sketch cover, though, so I'm not going to go super crazy on it, because it wasn't like I wasn't paid like cover rate or something to do it. Was there one other thing? That might have been it. Maybe it's 4 commissions left, but those are my last obligations. And then I'm not kidding, man. The only thing I'm working on from this point forward is Blaster Kid after that. So it's exciting. I'm not taking commissions. I'm not doing any fan art. I've said it in other videos, but I know not everyone watches every video, but I mean it. I'm not kidding. When I put a line in the sand, that line is solid. I will not bend. So I'll sell everything I own before I do anything else. All right, this should be it. We got to be towards the end. This is probably the last panel. We may have a cover. This first panel is great, though. This is nice, too. Guy's in big trouble. He ran into the wrong crowd. We've got the half savage Britons oppose their landing. Yep. All right. You guys have a great day. I don't know if I'll do another video this week. I will for Patreon. But probably not for YouTube, just so I can finish Crystal Planet and get it done. That's the most important thing. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day, and see you very soon.